Hello, I am going to be sharing what I have learned from Ed 211. So let's get that shared. All right, so what I've learned from Ed 211, let's kind of present this as well. Okay, so the top three things that are most important to me or that I've learned were don't be a perfectionist, get 1% better every day. So in life, I feel like I've struggled to be trying to be perfect at everything the first time. I expect myself to get AMP projects and I expect, maybe if I try a new sport or a new activity that I'm just the best automatically. Although it's not terrible to always think like this and it can lead to some successes, this class has shown me that I should strive to improve each day instead of just trying to get it all in at once. This helps my mindset to be focused on more goals, and it also aids me in knowing that even if I fail, I can keep trying, which is super comforting to know. I think in this class, I've had moments or two where I didn't get 100% on an assignment, even though I thought this was great, I don't understand. And then I, went and talked to the TA or BROPA, and I was given examples of how I could improve my work. And that really helped me because it wasn't me just thinking I did perfect the first time that nothing could change. And even that, though I didn't do great or that I could improve on some things, I could go back and get better. And it didn't super affect my grade because I would turn it in on time. One of the things that I also learned was education isn't a game. So this was a devotional that was put into one of the readings at, I believe it was the first week of the semester. So we're still getting into readings, and it was all about not just trying to collect grades. And Bro Paul always says, the gym and school are things that we pay the most money for, and we try and get the least out of, which that's kind of stuck with me for a long time too, because it's something that it's very true and kind of sad where we pay money to go do something and we're like all excited about it, but then we don't go or we don't put in the effort. And something I've learned from this is that we're not just collecting grades, and that we should find joy in the learning. And part of this reading really influenced one of my new life mottos from my other teaching class, which was that we had to find a life motto about education. And mine is learning is lifelong, because although maybe we're not in school for the rest of our lives, there's so many opportunities to learn, so might as well learn to love it and learn to enjoy it. And I realized that after I read this, I started to act on my own learning better and in different ways, because I didn't really want to play the education that I had been playing all throughout my high school and middle school career. So I'm very glad that I was able to take this class first semester and read this the first week, because education should be something that's valued and not just trying to get the least out of for how much you've paid. I've also learned how I need to be a warm demander. Before this class, I never really understood how I could be a kind teacher without being like a pushover. At times in my life, I felt totally like a doormat. Like if I was nice, people kind of just took advantage, and I didn't want that for my teaching. And I kind of wanted to end, once I realized what was happening. So at the beginning of the semester, we made our chart, and Brokaw explained what being a warm demander meant. And he also explained the different teaching rules. Basically, it's like tough love is what I got from it. I think he said that as well. So this teacher just holds their students to a high expectation, and not just one student, but all their students have the same high expectations. They praise work when it's been done right and well, not just little tasks here and there, because to really feel happiness can come from when you do hard work and when you succeed at doing hard things. So really being able to recognize those hard tasks that you've assigned and to reward and praise that in the appropriate manner. This helped me understand that as a teacher, I should have high expectations, but I also should motivate my students. So this is a really good way to, help me make sure I'm not a passive teacher and that I'm not just, okay, yep, do whatever and I'm nice, but that my teacher or my students in my class are being challenged and that I'm able to help them through those challenges and they're able to learn and grow. All right, so I have a few favorite memories. This one is a more silly and fun memory, but so my group was an innovation group and we got assigned our people, actually we got assigned twice with groups. So we're moving around in the classroom. And we met before we ever moved in the classroom. I met our group in person. I saw that online that my name matched up with someone else. And my name is Ashlyn, and it's not very common, at least where I'm from in Arizona. I haven't met anyone named Ashlyn, but she had my first name spelled the same, and then middle name was spelled May. Hers was with an E and mine's with a Y. But we just totally bonded over that. And now we sit together in every class, and we just really enjoy being together. And it's just nice to be able to connect with others, and it's super fun. And so one of the fun stories that we've shared was in class, Bro Paul once responded to a student. I can't remember the context because you probably wouldn't say this, but he said, "Ooh, drugs," and responded to a student like that. And we cracked up about this for so long, and the other Ashlyn ended up writing on the quote board, but I was too nervous too. So that was one of my favorite memories, and that I'll probably remember for a very long time. Another one is, this is like hit me hard because I never heard anyone say this, but I tell my mom this all the time because, like I said earlier, I can sometimes be a pushover, sometimes I'm too nice. And he told the class that niceness is not Christ-likeness. And that like pierced my heart because this made me think a lot deeper about my life, and like, had I been enabling people around me because I thought I was just being nice. So this really like just kind of changed how I think and act. And now I know that I can actually implement this into my teaching. So just because I want to be nice, or a lot of times I get nervous to say no because I don't want like others to think different of me or think that I'm mean, when in reality that could be respect, and that just being nice is not Christ-like. And we strive as a community and in the church to be Christ-like, and a lot of other people all around the world strive to be Christ-like. So it's just important to remember that, to hold myself to a higher standard rather than to not just be nice, but to be Christ-like. So I'm really glad that, again, I took this class first semester and that we learned this pretty early on, because it's been really impactful. All right, a hard lesson that I've learned throughout this semester was time management. So I started the readings usually about Wednesday when they were due Thursday, and then the weekly assignments or projects on the weekend when they were due on the weekend, like Friday, Saturday. And that caused a lot of unnecessary stress. So I was able to, after about like the second week and after, I decided that that's not something I wanted to feel. I wanted to feel stressed over something that should be manageable. So I was able to kind of focus my time and figure out that I could do my readings on Tuesday, even before class in the library. And then I could do my projects on Wednesday or Thursday, like today's Wednesday, and I'm doing my project, because although it does take time and effort to do these things, it really makes sense for me to have a lot of my work done before the weekend, so I can like rest and recuperate and get the right rest I need. A lot of lesson I did learn kind of hard as well was to get enough sleep and enough rest. And Bro Paul really emphasized that enough, which I thought was really helpful, because I started getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep, and I am a whole new person with that. So that's super nice. And so when I made that switch of time management with these assignments, as well as getting enough sleep, because that would enable me to be able to be healthier and not feel sick, and just be in a better spirit in general as well. I actually saw a lot of my grades improve, because I managed my time better and I managed my sleep better. And I think will help me carry me throughout the rest of my schooling career and when I become a teacher. So we worked on and were given a lot of apps this semester, which was super fun to try them out. Sometimes it was a little stressful, but ClassDojo, Flipgrid, Quizlet, and YouTube I all found super cool, and also things that would be really good to implement in classrooms. So ClassDojo, we talked a lot about how families need to be involved with their students' learning. And I feel like Quizlet, ClassDojo, actually all these can kind of apply, but ClassDojo is a really good way to communicate with not only the student, but the parents. and we're able to explain what happened in class that day, what's going on, and that way things can be solved better instead of maybe a report home every so often, or the student coming home upset, and like there's a little more reason why behind it. So that's really helpful. Flipgrid for class discussions. A lot of times, even now we do discussion boards, but they are, for this class, we do it through Twitter, and for other classes, we do it on Canvas. But what I think is really cool is that Flipgrid lets you take a video and you're able to understand people in a face-to-face context in a way, even though you're still online. And I love that. And teachers can facilitate and they're able to figure out what's being said. And I just think it's awesome that students can connect even though if they're online and see one another's faces. Quizlet. So I used Quizlet all of high school, and this was one of the apps that I was able to choose. And I loved it for test prep and for studying at home. A lot of times there was opportunities in class to make Quizlets back in high school, and and I've used it a little bit in college as well, but there's a little bit of less tests and less recall, so that's also nice. But Quizlet is great to just review, and there's games, there's so many options on it, so I really enjoy using that. YouTube projects and reports can be made and shared by students. I love this idea of not passive learning, where they're just not sitting at a desk watching a YouTube video where they're going to get distracted by some other video that's not educational or not what we're supposed to be doing, but that they can make a whole assignment, do a whole book report, and do the book report online, or do a whole project online about their favorite thing about science that they've learned this year. And this is so interactive. This is so good, because what I've learned from these apps this year is that we are not trying to replace just normal life with school. We're trying to enhance it. So that's what I've loved about learning in this class with technology. All right, so a long-term lesson that I found was about mindset. I learned that in the future, I want to be successful. And that means that I kind of need to get out of a fixed mindset that I sometimes have. This class has taught me to not get frustrated over little things in life. Maybe I can take a moment or two to be like a few minutes to be frustrated and take a deep breath and get back into my life. So one time Brokaw said that when we're focusing on something that's stressing us out, we're not focusing on the right things, if that makes sense. So if I'm worried about something that happened in my other two classes and I'm in another class, and how am I supposed to focus on what's happening in that class? So that was really impactful. I've also learned that I shouldn't blame my outside resources, because that can alter my happiness. I believe that was from one of the readings where someone blamed a bunch of things on the outside, where someone said, oh, maybe I should do this next time. And having that difference in mindset can really change a lot of things, because the more we realize what impact we have in our own daily trials, if that makes sense, that we have control over it. And the more that we realize that we have control of it, the more that we can change those outcomes and that we can be happier people. Let's see. Ed 211 made me realize that being motivated and having grit will determine a lot of my success. However, I learned that I should balance between being a perfectionist and letting things just work out the way they need to. The things I've learned from this class are benefiting me now and helping me prepare for my future and what I want it to look like. So this is very true, especially the balance between being a perfectionist and letting things just work out, because although you need to put hard work in and be a gritty person, there's a balance between kind of just letting things need to work out and then working hard as well. So I really like learning that. And I feel like it's going to really help me throughout going through the rest of my college path. All right, so my consultancy project, there's 5 here. This one isn't in bold, but there's 5. This is my survey data. So at lab hours, most people I found actually weren't going for the most part from there are a good handful that love it and just find it so helpful. And some people just can't make it because of work and other obligations. And a few people said it wasn't helpful. I actually mentioned I went to lab hours one time and I was working on stuff, and then I ended up just helping everyone else around me because there's only one TA that wasn't from our class, and so no one knew what was going on. But I did, so I helped other people, and so it's nice. It was nice to do, but it took a little bit to actually start working on my stuff. So it was a little frustrating, but overall lab hours are great. Oral exams, they're awesome, even if they cause a little bit of stress in the moment. But sometimes people go more than once, even when someone else in the class hasn't had the opportunity to go. So I'll actually explain that more in later slides. Projects, I've heard working on them a little bit more during class from the survey results, and have the projects bi-weekly instead of every week, depending on the project, which I thought was pretty interesting. I mean, from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, I definitely see a lot, or semester, I definitely see a lot more time that we've been able to kind of play around with things, and then we work on the actual project on our time. And then class time, spend less time at the start of class with memes so that there can be more time for instruction and lesson. Just a little less memes. They're great, 10 out of 10, but just less memes. Readings, videos are liked better than actual like text. And then overall, most, if not everyone, said that the readings were super insightful and impactful. Okay, so going back to the readings, an idea I had was for general conference talks, a lot of times we have those as text, but a lot of people were saying that they like the videos. So that would be a really good, easy way to just change that to a video, so that instead of a however long spend time reading it, they have it as 18, 21-minute video of just listening to an apostle or prophet, which I think would actually be really helpful because I enjoy the videos as well. And I think they're really helpful. And not every single reading I feel like has to have a video, but sometimes it's nice to break it up a little bit. So my main change is the oral exam. They are amazing. They show what students have learned from the readings, and students also have the chance to share new insights with the class. The only kind of bigger flaw that I found while we did oral exams was that they take a lot of class time, at least like 5 to 7 minutes. And for class, that is a lot of our time. There's a lot more that we can be doing with that. So people get nervous when they have to speak in front of the class in general. We kind of know that, but it also becomes more nerve-wracking when you're just sitting there for extra minutes trying to figure out if you're going to be the one that has to go up. And especially when they call out the names and then only one person's there and they have to call a bunch of other names, it just raises the stakes a lot more. A way that this could be fixed was to have groups go instead of individuals, such as the Go React, the Innovation, the social media group. So have a week kind of assigned if there is enough, there should be. But let's say if someone wasn't there in the group, that group would write down the person's name because everyone's comfortable with the group. So it'd also be more comfortable going up as a group. And maybe that would help nerves a little bit. And then they could write down who's not in the group, give it to the TA after they do their oral exam. The TA can put it into the next group so that everyone has a chance to go. So this basically creates less anxiety because groups are comfortable with one another, and it keeps better track of who's already gone for the oral exam and who hasn't. And we're not just spending 5 to 7 minutes waiting to hear who's going to go. So that is all I have for talking about Ed 211. I've overall loved this class. It's been super fun and I've learned a lot. So that is all I have to say. Thank you for listening.